Larry Hogan, the Republican governor of Maryland. That's right, folks. Maryland, the state that has 2 Democratic senators, like a lot of Democratic Congress members, has a Republican governor. Why is that the case? You might ask, real quick before we get into this clip. Why is that the case? Well, Maryland, a lot of people who live and work in Washington, D.C., live in Maryland. And you know, when you interact with the D.C. bubble, your brain breaks. You become a crazy person. You become out of touch with reality. You have some sort of induced psychosis. You do not know what it's like to be a regular person living around in this world. And so that makes you vote for Democratic senators and Republican governors. That's what happens. These are D.C. bubble brain doofuses that vote for Republican governors and Democratic senators. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, that being said, of course, as that is the case, right, you know, Maryland is a pretty Democratic state. Again, for whatever reason, they've got a Republican governor. It's like, you know, Vermont and Massachusetts also. Like, what the fuck? But also, because of that, though, Larry Hogan is not a Trump Republican. He was considering in 2020 running alongside Bill Weld and Joe Walsh, but ultimately chose not to. He has said he might leave the door open to run in 2024. This guy is like a never Trump Republican kind of guy. But also, like, you know, when Trump was in office, you know, he did not shy away from him. You know, again, he's a Republican. This is all a branding exercise. What he's trying to do here, right? What he's trying to do is he's trying to brand himself as different than the loony fascist Ron DeSantis types. This is the suit and tie fascism that Larry Hogan is presenting. So anyway, this is him talking about Ron DeSantis's new legislation. Let's watch.
Your fellow Republican governor, DeSantis.
And of course, this is a clip from Sarah Reese Jones that works she is the boss of Politics USA. This is from CNN, and yet there's only one audio channel. I can only hear this in my left ear. So that's crazy. So please bear in mind that this is, again, the boss of Politics USA. Apparently can only use one audio channel. So that's all I got.
Your fellow Republican governor, DeSantis in Florida, he suggested that he will retaliate against Disney after it criticized Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill, which bans certain instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in the classroom. What's your reaction to that? And then more broadly, what do you make of that legislation?
Well, I didn't
really
actually see the details of the legislation, but the whole thing seems like just a crazy fight. I'm not sure. It concerns me that DeSantis is always talking about he was not demanding that businesses do things, but he was, telling the cruise lines what they had to do. He was telling local schools what they had, mandating, and now he wants to criticize Disney for expressing, how they feel about that bill. I mean, they have every right to it. We have a thing called freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. They can come out and say what they think. I think the bill was kind of absurd and not something that would have happened in our state.
So that's interesting. I like when Republicans fight each other. Now, again, at the end of the day, suit and tie fascism versus I'm fucking crazy, look at my Looney Tunes behavior fascism. They're both fascists. Every Republican is a criminal. Every Republican is a Nazi. That is, of course, not a joke. If you want to find me an exception, I would love to see an exception to that rule. Larry Hogan, of course, one of the best Republican governors when it comes to COVID policies and restrictions, but also, again, a Republican governor, so did a really horrible job at managing COVID. Of course, Larry Hogan got into this big public fight with Donald Trump over like COVID masks or whatever shipments. That was fun. But again, this guy's fucking Looney Tunes. He's trying to brand himself. He's, again, trying to maybe set the stage to run in 2024 because he's already hit his second term in Maryland. So he's like, what could I do? Maybe if I run in 2024, so he's trying to like leave the door open. That's what this is. But again, let's talk about the Don't Say Gay law thing, right? Now, again, Maryland, a lot of gay people in Maryland. You might, D.C. has a lot of gay people. Virginia, Maryland, the area, filled with gays. They're steeped in gayness. Like when you it's like when you like have a sponge, right, and you just squeeze the sponge and all the water comes out. That's what would happen in Maryland if you squoze the state. A bunch of gays would come out because it's filled with gays. And so, Larry Hogan again, trying to be like that kind of like both sides moderate Republican. There's really no such thing as a moderate Republican. Tax policies and how they treat the homeless and minorities is still garbage. But again, they'll try to signal that they're not that bad, and that's really what you got to watch out for. These are like the suit and tie, look at me, I'm so special, kind of Republican, versus the openly wearing it on your sleeve, I'm a motherfucking crazy bitch, like Ron DeSantis or Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. He's trying to take that, Mitt Romney approach, but again, Mitt Romney, that kind of approach, the moderate Republicans are still Republicans. They're still Nazis. They're still fascists. They just have a different brand. They have a different strategy of achieving fascism and totalitarian rule. And, again, we need to understand that. I think it's important to understand. There is no such thing as a good Republican. There's like maybe 5 good Democrats maybe in the whole country. As compared to 0 good Republicans in the whole country. So I'm just throwing that out there. But anyway, there you go. Larry Hogan, governor fight. It's a governor fight. It's happening. They're fighting, right? Like, whoa. So, got a show going on, doing a program. I'm trying to caffeinate myself. I'm trying to caffeinate myself right now because I did not do so earlier.